So why do I remain a sucker for Jacksonville Jaguars QB Trevor Lawrence? This is the Fantasy Sports Boss. Guys, hit that subscribe button. The 2024 season is fast approaching. Now, when it comes to the quarterback position, I've already been on record multiple times stating, unlike last year, where I used a third-round pick in both of my leagues on a quarterback, one for Josh Allen, the other for Jalen Hurts. This time around, I'm being much more conservative. I like CJ Stroud early on, as we talked about, but at QB5, way too expensive. And I'm zeroing in on Joe Burrow as QB7 currently right now in terms of his ADP. QB10, Kyler Murray. These are the guys I'm really looking at. And of course, Jordan Love right now, who I believe is QB9. Those three guys in particular are the ones I'm looking at the most. Now, I will admit, I'm also zoning in once again on Trevor Lawrence. You're probably saying, oh, again, the Trevor Lawrence. I mean, this guy just doesn't give up. Okay, guilty as charged to an extent, but just hear me out for a second. As far as Trevor Lawrence right now is concerned, he's QB 15. All right, QB 15 is basically free, all right, in a single quarterback league. But keep in mind also, 2 years ago, he finished QB 7. Last year, despite some pronounced struggles, he was QB 12. And as far as last season is concerned, there's a couple of things that we need to look at that fall in the fluke variety. For one thing, 3.3% touchdown rate. That is definitely going to come turn the other way this year. It was just way too fluky last year. 21 touchdown passes, 14 picks. He had 25 touchdown passes a year before. That's going to turn around. And also, keep in mind, he has an offensive coach, all right? Doug Peterson loves the passing game. And this offense still, despite saying goodbye to Calvin Ridley, who really didn't seem to gel with Trevor Lawrence during the offseason, they brought in reinforcements. Not only do they have Christian Kirk, one of the best slot receivers in the game, but they brought in Gabe Davis, who's obviously a game breaker. They drafted Brian Thomas, the kid from LSU, who I think is going to be a star. They have one of the best top 5 receiving tight ends in Evan Engram, who went way above 100 targets last season. And they have Travis Etienne, who can catch the ball out of the backfield. There is a lot of weaponry for Lawrence to take advantage of. And also, guys, remember, he was hurt a lot the second half of last year. The Jaguars' offensive line, which has been bolstered this past offseason, he was battered throughout the course of the year. And certainly it was admirable of him to play through injuries, but it definitely hurt him down the stretch last season. But also keep in mind this, the rushing totals, all right? His first 3 years, 334 rushing yards, 291 rushing yards, and then last season, 339. All right, 11 touchdowns on the ground his first 3 years in the league. This is obviously something not to be overlooked. So you have a dual threat quarterback who's basically free. So I am going to have a lot of shares of Trevor Lawrence. I'm going to have him as a backup initially that I could even put in as a starter when needed. I told you I'm zeroing in on Joe Burrow. I really want Joe Burrow as QB7. I'm ready to do that. I'm also in on Kyler Murray. But if I fail to get Murray, Burrow, or Jordan Love. Now, Jordan Love, there is a kind of a fluky TD rate that he had last year that I'm a little bit concerned about, but the offense looks great. If I don't get any of those guys, I am perfectly happy going with a combination of, Trevor Lawrence with Aaron Rodgers, or Trevor Lawrence with, possibly Geno Smith, because Geno Smith still has a lot of weapons there. Jaden Daniels and Trevor Lawrence, I can go that route and get both of those guys. Trevor Lawrence with Caleb Williams, and just flip-flop them based on the matchup. It's not a bad idea. Like, you don't need to force the quarterback issue this year. I do think Trevor Lawrence, if he stays healthy, which he's been proven very durable, even going back to his college days, I think Trevor Lawrence can easily finish top 12. And you're going to get him for QB 15 price. So that's a win right there. So keep an open mind with Trevor Lawrence. He's still a generational talent, has all the natural ability in the world. I'm going to have a lot of shares of him. Let me know what you think. Hit the subscribe button as well.